So when we're integrating powers of sine and cosine, we have some reduction formulas that can be super helpful. They're not very intuitive, so probably you're going to look them up. I'm just going to give them to you here, and I'll show you how to use them. So if we're integrating, so sine to the n of x dx. So this isn't one where we have, right, an extra cosine out there, right, that we can use as a du. Okay, actually the way we derive this big formula is by peeling one of these off and doing a little integration by parts, but it's super messy. So let me just show you how this one is going to work. So sine, we're going to do a sine. So in this case, n is 6. And so now I need to use this formula on the right. Even with the formula, it is not a given process, right? We're still going to be working for it. So I'm going to have negative 1/6 sine to the 5th of x times the cosine of x plus n minus 1 5/6 integral. So now I have sine to the 4th of x dx. Okay, so that's not too bad, except I don't know what the antiderivative of sine to the 4th of x dx is, so I need to do this again. So let's go again. So this first term tags along, so negative 1/6 sine to the 5th x cosine x plus 5/6. Now that 5/6 will multiply everything that comes after. So here we go. So now my n value is 4. So we'll go ahead and I'll change color so maybe you can see it. So this is going to be expanding this integral using the reduction formula again. So I'm going to have negative 1/4 sine cubed x cosine x plus n minus 1, so 3/4 integral sine squared x dx. So, okay, it's better. I don't know the antiderivative of sine squared, but I don't need to go back to my formula anymore because I do have a strategy for this one. So let's go ahead and let's do one more time. So I have negative 1/6 sine to the 5th x cosine x. Do you guys know what the strategy is going to be? So I think I'm going to go ahead and take my 5/6 through because, right, it's getting kind of crowded over here. So I'll have negative 5/24 sine cubed cos x plus 15/24 integral. Okay, here we go. It's the sine squared x dx. So I'm going to use my double angle formula. So that's going to be a 1/2, right? So I'll go ahead and bring my 1/2 out in front. 1/2 timesing the 15/24. And then it's 1 minus, remember sine, long I for minus. 1 minus cosine 2x dx, right? So 1 minus cosine 2x is my new integrand. That one I can do. Okay, so here we go. Negative 1/6 sine to the 5th x cosine x minus 5/24 sine cubed x. Oh, I left my x off there. Yeah, remember your arguments for your trig functions. Just a sine hanging out there without an x is not okay. So let's see. Oh, I should have done a little bit of reducing over here. What is that, a 3? So I can have a plus 5. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have 8/16 integral of, oh, let's go ahead and do the antiderivative. Here we go. So now we're going to do the antiderivative of 1 minus cosine 2x. So I'll get an x, and then for the cosine, I'll get an extra 2, so that means I'll get a 1/2, and I don't want to make a mistake at this point, so that's going to be a minus sign again, minus 1/2 sine 2x. And I think I'm done. Only thing I'll do, I'll go ahead and write it one more time, and I'll take that 5/16 through, just so we can be all the way till the end. I can't believe, even with that reduction formula, how many steps this can take. Now, you should know that for trig functions, because of all of the Pythagorean identities and double angle formulas, that there can be multiple ways that you can write these antiderivatives. So if your answer doesn't look exactly like this one, or your answer doesn't match what it has in the back of the book, a way that you can check is by graphing, right, this answer versus whatever answer you got, and see if you get the same graph. If the graphs are the same, then the antiderivatives are equivalent.